of pubsportsradio.com hot topics. We got a hot topic for you today because, Jeff, we're not talking about things that are happening on the court currently right now, but college basketball, when we were waiting to get to the Elite Eight and to the Final Four, this was a monster story back in 2017, now coming to HBO called The Scheme. This should be an interesting watch here, Jeff.
Yeah, and Donnie, we should be talking about the Final Four coming up this week. We would have our teams. We'd be focused. We'd be a little scared because college basketball is ending, and how are we going to approach baseball? Baseball will be in its second week, basically. Yeah. Instead, we're sitting here looking at Will Rogers Downs and talking about basketball documentaries. But yeah, for anyone that's not aware, I know people are really interested in watching this Michael Jordan documentary coming up in April, but this is something that I would obviously check out as well. Basically what it is, Donnie, is it centers around the corruption scheme that you alluded to last year. It kind of went away, and we just kind of, like most things in this country, Donnie, it happens. We are worried about it for a week, and then it goes back to normal. And that's what this is. Basically, it centers around this guy, Christian Dawkins, who, for anyone who doesn't know, Christian Dawkins, Donnie, was an aspiring agent. He wanted to be a sports agent. He had interest in that business. He was approached by these seedy characters that basically told him that they wanted to fund an agency for him and connect him with some people. It turns out that those two people were FBI agents. And it really kind of just divulges into the life that Dawkins kind of went into. They basically told him that they were the money behind this. You'll do what we say. And he basically started connecting players with certain coaches in exchange for money and that sort of thing. To me, what this really kind of reveals, Donnie, is I think the real state of the FBI and they're just, I mean, who are they? Who are they as a governing party to know any? Like, why aren't they going after the NCAA? If you're going to go after anyone, why not go after them? They're the real corrupt organization here, Donnie. They're the real syndicate in all this. So it's really kind of delving into that topic and kind of how at the end of the day, the people that are really screwed in all this, Donnie, are the student athletes. I mean, you have kids that people never have heard of that they should have heard of because of irresponsible leeches that are surrounding these kids. And, Christian Dawkins, obviously, I think if you look at the things that he did, I don't think it's really any different than going out and paying these kids, which is, you and I have had those conversations before, Donnie. At the end of the day, if you're a high-level Division I athlete, the money you're making for these programs, you could see where you should say they should see something out of it. But at the end of the day, this is something you should definitely watch. I think it's something that, kind of open up a world that maybe we just didn't really know about or we just kind of skimmed over.
No, it's a really amazing story, and it's great that it's coming at this time because we can get the proper focus, because I'm sure if this was released when we're trying to focus on the Final Four as we talk about national championship, maybe it goes under the radar. But this has a lot of betting implications as well, Jeff, because you and I are cut from the same cloth. You're trying to get every single added advantage that you can get on a game, and I remember this game going down in Oregon with DeAndre Ayton where he wasn't supposed to play against Oregon, so I'm like, great, this all coming down. Miller, I believe, is getting suspended or was in a game suspension, and he was in and said there's no way that Ayton's going to play tonight. They're going to risk, further damage to the program down the line. They'll sit him just to be safe till he's cleared. Ayton ended up playing against Oregon, but Oregon still prevailed. This was a major story going on to see, even talking about LSU day to day, Jeff, where they're going back and forth in the press. Like, there's no way Will Wade survives this. He's still there. Miller's still there. A lot's still going on.
Yeah, Will Wade was actually suspended in the SEC tournament. Javonte Smart, one of the players, was suspended as well. From what I understand, Donnie, there is a lot of interplay in this documentary between Wade and Miller on the phone with Dawkins. Now, if you read any of the indictment and any of the case, Will Wade and Sean Miller make it clear they have never interacted with Christian Dawkins. So this is definitely going to look bad for them. I mean, they have their voices on tape. Donnie, back in the mob days, back in the late 80s and 90s, Bruce Cutler, who was the attorney for John Gotti, he once said that you can't cross-examine a tape. It's your voice at the end of the day. There's nothing you can really do to dispute it. This is definitely going to look bad for Sean Miller and Will Wade. And you have to wonder, could this trickle down? I mean, can this – obviously I think these schools will protect those people. And again, it's amazing that these guys just kind of skirted off and nothing really happened. But I think it goes to show you, Donnie, that at the end of the day, nobody really cares at any point. Donnie, Jerry Tarkanian once said, 9 out of 10 schools cheat. The last school that doesn't in last place. And that's pretty true at the end of the day. So you look at a team like Michigan, Donnie. They were never a team that wanted to do that. John Beilein was kind of stringent on, we're not going to go down that road. Michigan always seemed to come up short. The schools that pay to play, they win. It's just that simple.
No, and with being fans itself, did anybody care that, in Major League Baseball, the steroid era, nobody cared. We love to see the home runs going out. Do you like to see a guy in the NBA or whoever gets caught or popped for drugs or whatever is suspended? No, we want to see the best play out there. It's the same way in college basketball. These kids are superstars. We would rather see them on them. Unless it's one of your rivals and he's going to take a superstar out of the lineup. But outside of that, we want to see the best players play. And it's interesting because when you take a look at these NCAA investigations, let's also remember the NCAA is in it for money. It doesn't do them any benefit, Jeff, to knock down Arizona program or knock down a Kansas program or knock down a UNC program when they had their cheating scandals with the fake college courses. It doesn't do anybody any harm. And I think if we can all come together, Jeff, and say as a collective positive, if this got swept under the rug, would anybody care or anybody be unhappy, I should say, right?
It's business as usual. Yeah. And this is as usual, the federal government doing and getting their claws into things that are really just irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Listen, here's what I will say about it. And this is where I think I do look at the FBI and say, well, at least if they're going to do something and get something out of this. One good thing is we have to show the parasites that some of these people are that lag on to these kids. I mean, their kid Brian Bowen. Brian Bowen was a top player in the country in 2017-18. He never played in college basketball. He never played in the NBA. This is a high-level prospect that was basically wasted because of these leeches that surround some of these kids. Mothers and fathers basically feel the need to speak for their kid. Yeah, yep. Exactly. And this really shows the underbelly of not only this corruption, but I mean, the pay for play stuff that goes on at some of these smaller colleges is borderline criminal as far as like some of the pimping they do, pay for athletic programs and stuff. And at the end of the day, the only kids that suffer at the end of the year are the kids that can't play in the playoffs because of academic performance ratings. I mean, it's pathetic. Some of this stuff is really hideous. And if they want to go at anybody, it should be centered at the NCAA.
Hot topics right here at pubsportsradio.com. Make sure you check out this game tonight on HBO. College basketball, again, Jeff, as you say, not on the court, but certainly in the courtroom, it seems like at this point. Tune in each and every day here at pubsportsradio.com for the latest on hot topics. For Jeff Nadeau, for me, Donnie Seymour, thanks again for tuning in. We'll have another hot topic for you tomorrow. Watch it tonight on HBO. We'll talk about it tomorrow.